Good morning and happy Wednesday, boys and girls. So today we're going to keep going with our angles. We're going to start looking at joining angles, and then tomorrow we're going to dive into separating angles, so just adding and subtracting based upon information that's given to you. So starting with our first example, we have our ultimate big angle. It's going to be obtuse. However, as you can see, this angle looks a little bit different than what we've looked at previously because this bigger angle is ultimately broken up into two different angles, two smaller angles. When you are joining angles together, that simply means that you're going to be adding the two measurements, the 2 degrees together, to give you what the total degree is going to be for the big angle. So with joining these two angles together, we are going to take 55 degrees plus 50 degrees. Adding those together, we are going to get 105 degrees. So the measure of angle X, which again is this big obtuse angle, is 105 degrees. Now adding a little bit more to our angle knowledge today as well. Sometimes angles, and then also diving into our lines that are coming on Friday, and then ultimately our shapes, mainly with our triangles and our quadrilaterals that we'll get into next week within this geometry unit. They're going to be joining and bringing in letters to help you identify specific angles, specific shapes, and also to help you kind of narrow down what you're ultimately looking for. What I mean by that is with our second example, we have A, B, C, and D. Those are some different points within these angles. We are still joining these angles together to ultimately give us this big angle. Our big angle name is going to be A, B, C. So when you think about angles, they're going to have 3 different letters attached to them because it needs to have the vertex every single time. The vertex is always going to be the middle letter, and then the 2 endpoints where you're starting and where you're ending are going to be the beginning and the end of your angle name. So we are looking for the measurement of angle A, B, C. So to break that apart a little bit in order to join these together, our smaller angle will be 39 degrees, and then we do have a bigger angle today, an obtuse angle of 94 degrees. So we're going to add these together with using the angle names to ultimately give us, again, that angle measurement of A, B, C. So personally, I'm going to start with the bigger angle. This angle, to break it apart a little bit, is A, B, D, since that is the second endpoint of these 2 rays. So the way that we're going to represent that is we're going to draw an angle symbol and use A, B, D. Again, just using those 3 points. Middle is always the vertex to name that angle. The angle measurement of A, B, D is 94 degrees. The second angle that we're adding to this is angle D, B, C. Personally, boys and girls, I like to start adding the second angle where I ended the first one, just so I don't get letters confused, I don't get the angles confused, and just so I can kind of keep everything nice and neat. So angle DBC, that angle measurement is 39 degrees. Again, we are still joining these angles, we're still adding these angles together to give us our answer, our measurement for angle ABC, our big angle, our big obtuse angle. So adding these together, this is ultimately going to give us 133 degrees. So the measure of angle ABC is 133 degrees. So whether or not it just has you looking for the X, or if it has you looking for the big angle, you're still going to be doing the same thing. You're adding the inner measurements. There are going to be some that have 3 measurements on the inside, so be very, very careful with that. What you're going to be working on today, boys and girls, again, the 2 examples that we just went over are on top, so you can always refer back to those. You have 6 problems on the front to work on, where again, you're finding the measure of the larger angle, so you're joining them together. On the back is when you start to get into multiple angles, more than just two. So you have 3 angles here, 3 angles here. You are still just joining them together. Tomorrow, when we look into separating angles, there's gonna be another step added to this, but for right now, just wanna get you comfortable with finding those bigger angles, those bigger measurements. And then you do also have some word problems on the bottom, so don't forget about those, okay? Please make sure when you are done, you go on to Google Classroom, fill out those forms, and then we will talk about separating angles tomorrow.